DJ Fly,
Hello.
welcome, man.
Hello.
Yes,
Do
legend. How did the name Fly come about?
you know what? I used to have dreadlocks. You might
I
remember
remember,
that.
yeah, yeah,
I used
yeah,
to have
yeah, yeah, yeah,
dreadlocks,
yeah,
and
yeah.
I remember when I used to run, my dreadlocks just go up and down.
Mm.
Um, and I remember, I think I was at Redbridge College at the time, and we had to run for a bus. I was running so fast, I can remember the kid behind me going, "God, them dreadlocks look like you're gonna fly off." Because I was like, they was going up and down.
Yeah,
I think it just really come from there. Like when I went to DJ, I think, fly. And then in woodwork, I remember actually like crafting out like a fly logo.
yeah,
Do you know what I mean? In wooden design.
yeah.
So it's just kind of really stuck from there, really.
So were people calling you Fly before,
Yeah.
before?
I think from that point onwards, like I got a nickname within college, and that as fly, and it just kind of really stuck from there. It all started from when the dreadlocks used to go up and down.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Do you know what I mean? Like whether I was doing like physical education or something like that, the dreadlocks would always move until I used to tie them up. Because
yeah,
at that point they wasn't long enough to tie up; they were quite short, like a bob. So
yeah,
to try
yeah,
and get them all in, I couldn't do that.
yeah,
So I
yeah,
had to just leave them hanging loose.
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So it kind of the name really comes from there.
Okay. So when did you start DJing?
I started DJing from quite a young age. I would say I'd go back as far as maybe 13.
13.
Yeah, as far as probably even younger than that.
And what was the music genre when you first started?
I was very much into so the school discos. I was a school DJ for the
Yeah,
school discos.
yeah,
Um, and it would be Salt and Pepper,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
NWA,
Mhm,
even Jason Donovan, Kylie Minogue,
mhm.
anything. Do
Okay.
you know what I mean? So it's kind of DJing really sort of stemmed from there. But my dad was very much into his music. My dad was very much wasn't a sound system man as such, but very much into his hi-fis and had a big, massive collection.
Yeah,
Typically his collection was like reggae,
yeah.
lovers rock, roots.
So that's
Do you
where
know what I mean?
roots.
Trojan. My dad was
Yeah,
heavily into reggae,
yeah,
so hence why I've got a massive love for reggae. I don't really talk a lot about that because I'm not obviously in an industry where I can play it, but that's why when Eastman plays his stuff, I can appreciate the stuff that he plays
yeah, yeah.
because I'm massively from the background into that.
Mm.
So, but obviously I've got older cousins, and my older cousins was very much into when Acid came out. And you might remember the venue called Dungeons,
Yes,
Lea Bridge
yeah,
Road.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Red mentioned that
Yeah,
earlier.
well, Red Ant was going there. My cousin was going there. At that time, my cousin, he's 4 years older than me. Him and Red Ant are the same age. So I wasn't old enough to go to Dungeons at that time. But I
Mm.
think through my cousin, was playing a lot of, even in the bedroom, he was playing a lot of like Frankie Knuckles. Do you know what I mean? All the acid stuff,
Yeah,
Bizarre Ink, Shades of Rhythm, like from then. So I kind of really got into it. I'm thinking at that point now, I'm probably like, yeah, maybe 13, 14.
mm.
And I think that's where even my dad liked a little bit of hardcore. Do you know what I mean? He could appreciate. I wouldn't say he liked it. I think he could appreciate the instrumental factor of what went
Yeah,
into it. Do you know
yeah,
what I
yeah.
mean? So that's where I kind of really, from a young age, got my taste for like music. And at that time, um, I lived in Ilford. So the music shop then, record shop that everyone was going to was Music Power.
Okay, okay, yeah, yeah,
So Music Power for me on a Saturday, that's where I was.
yeah,
Even if I wasn't buying any music,
yeah.
I'd be in Music Power.
Just
And
to chill out, hang
I'm
out.
young.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you remember the DJ called Lloyd Anthony.
Not sure, not
Well,
sure.
Lloyd Anthony was quite a big DJ back then times, and I used to be quite good friends with his son Nicky. So because I was friends with Nicky, if you were just loitering in Music Power, they would kick you out. But because I was friends with Nicky, and then I got to know like Lloyd and Dean Savon and all them that used to work behind the
Wow, Dean
counter.
Savon.
Yeah, I got to know all of them guys. So I would just literally just chill out, and I think from there, going from having a general liking of it, I grew to love it. Do
Yeah,
you know what I mean? These are the days when like it was hardcore.
yeah,
Do you know what I mean? Jungle. There was no such thing as jungle then.
yeah,
Do you
yeah,
know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I think the only stuff that was really coming in at that point that was making a little bit of jungle influence, shall we say, was probably record labels like Suburban Bass, maybe Ibiza Records, them kind of
The early
labels.
days, like
Like
E and
it was
stuff.
very early then,
Yeah.
yeah. And you remember the label called E?
Yeah,
Yeah. Like all of them, it was very, very early. So for me, I always would love the hardcore. Do you know what I mean? It was always about the hardcore for me. So that's where my love just grew and then grew and then grew really for it from young.
You was one of the youngest on Weekend Rush, weren't you?
I was the
Because
youngest.
yeah,
I was the
that's,
youngest.
yeah, that's what I thought, man.
Yeah,
Like you and
yeah.
Shabba.
I was, and I think that was a bit daunting to me because at that time I was probably one of the youngest DJs in the industry, if you like. I don't know if you remember, he's not around. I don't think he exists now, but there was a young DJ as well. His name was called Killer.
Okay.
And I think his dad used to take him around, and he was similar age to me. I don't think he exists now, but I was very, very young, and that was quite daunting. Do you know what I mean? To some extent, it kind of put me off. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I was the youngest. Definitely, me and Shabba were, I would say, were the youngest on Weekend Rush.
Yeah. I
100%.
remember seeing an interview of you, man. It was like, yeah, man, you could tell you was a proper youth, man.
I was young. I was young compared to all of them guys. I was young.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because I'm not even 50 yet. And most of them men
Oh,
are
way
all
past 50,
way
man.
past 50. Like, so I was young. So that was quite daunting for me.
Yeah. Wow, man. Okay, so who inspired you? Who inspired you to not play jungle? Let's say who inspired you to DJ. Who was your inspiration?
There's only one person, and I think you know who I'm gonna say.
Who?
Red Ant.
Yeah, go on.
Red Ant for me.
Yeah.
Red Ant's got a lot of he's influenced me a lot.
Yeah.
Hell of a lot. Standard.
Yeah.
Red Ant. Can't even give you a number 2 or number 3. It's Red Ant all day long.
Yeah, man.
I think Red Ant. I don't want to give Ant a big head, but Ant, when Ant played music, he crafted it. He didn't just put a record on a turntable and play it. He was creative with it. And if you really think about it, dig real deep, at that point, not many people were doing that. Like playing a track and then go and get a Boogie Beat and then mix it in.
Yeah.
Like Red Ant for me was like creative.
Yeah.
Don't care what anyone says. There can be people that can listen to me and kind of debate what I'm saying. But I listened to Ant, and it wasn't for me. It wasn't so much the way Ant mixed because everybody could mix.
You was a good mixer, man.
I
had some takes of you, man.
Yeah.
You and Shabba,
Yeah.
and your mixing was like very creative as well, man. Like proper mixing.
Yeah. I still try to be like that now. But I think CDJs have killed that a little bit.
Yes,
but
it has.
I'll go into that a bit more.
Yeah.
I've always tried to be as clean and tight as I can possibly be. I can't say I'm clean and tight every single time I mix, but as soon as I get on there, I want to be as clean as I possibly can.
Yeah.
But yeah, to answer your question, I would say Red Ant.
Yeah.
Then coming away from Red Ant, I'll say I don't know if you remember the Brain Killers.
Yeah, man.
Like
Apache and
Unknown, and Fearless was part of them at that
Yeah,
point
yes,
as well.
yeah. I learned
So
that today.
I'd say Brain Killers, and then moving on, I'd have to go with Remark. And Rush used to have a DJ. Now, when you talk about clean, he was probably cleaner than all of us put together. Even probably I would have to say Ant to some extent.
Who?
His name was called Fox.
See, see. Red Ant mentioned him to me years ago. Red Ant said like he had a clash with Fox.
He did.
And he said like
I know where Ant's going with this.
Yeah.
I know where Ant's going with this.
For like he's like he couldn't believe it because Fox was like banging in the mixes quicker than him, and he couldn't believe what was going on.
Fox had a technique though. If he ever sees this, he would be mixing on one deck, and that's fully gains. That's a track that you're listening to. But the reason why he was so quick at mixing was because he would bring the level in, and at this point when the level's so low, he's not 100% in yet, but the mix is in. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So he's probably slightly out, but to you and I, to the ear, it's in. And then by the time he's got it bang where he wants it, the gain is then fully up. And that's how Fox mixed.
So he's one of those DJs that play playing pitch. Does that make sense? So
Yeah.
so he's so the tune's playing. He selects his other tune. It's as soon as the needle touches that record, he's already mixing it in,
He's already
and
getting ready to bring
yeah,
it in.
yeah,
But he's the levels was not coming right up until
yeah.
he bang in. But when Fox is in, he could go to the toilet and come back,
And it was
and it's
super
still in.
tight. Yeah,
That's how tight he was.
yeah,
And I think on techniques, there wasn't many people that could do that.
yeah,
And I remember Fox was tight. I was tight.
yeah. You
Ricochet was
mixing.
tight. Red Ant was tight. Quite a lot of the DJs on Rush were tight mixers,
Hmm.
but Fox was clean. So, but for me, I would say Fox for the mixing and Red Ant for the creativity.
Yeah,
Like Ant, the way Ant could create a mix was ridiculous.
I know. Yeah. Some
Like,
mixes I've heard, I'm like, wow,
yeah,
like that was amazing.
he's definitely inspired me 100%.
So how did the X-Rated crew come about?
So I know Ricochet through college. Me and Ricochet went to the same college.
Yeah.
Um, and Reg and Ricochet, MC Reg and Ricochet, both lived on the same area, so they were all friends as kids through the neighborhood. But me and Ricochet know each other through Redbridge College, and we just got talking. And then I found out he was into the similar music to me, and then he'd come around to my house. We'd have a mix. I'd go around to his house in Manor Park. More time I'd go to him. And he had the techniques. I had the sound labs.
Yeah.
So he was up there with the techniques.
That explains a lot now. You said Sound Labs.
Yeah.
Because
I had the
I think
sound
if
lab
you
belt
learn on
drive.
Sound Labs, you go when you go into techniques after that, you're a master because you've had to learn how to keep a pitch in.
Well,
Even
sound labs didn't keep the mix in.
exactly. That's why.
So you kind of was like literally physically fighting to keep it in.
Every second you couldn't let it go.
You couldn't.
This is why you was master. You are a master of your of techniques. That's why your
Yeah.
mixing was so good because of that. Sound Labs, you had to fight. Whereas when you got to techniques, it was like, this is easy, man.
Yeah, techniques for me, I'd say, but was easy.
Yeah.
Was
Whereas
easy.
people that learn on techniques,
it's easy. And I think the thing is for me is, as I say, I had the sound labs. Ricochet had the techniques. Red Ant had the techniques. So if I'll be at Ricochet's, I'll be on these techniques. If I'll be at Red Ant's, he had the techniques. So there was other places where I could go and had the techniques. Even one of my mates, James, in school, he had the techniques. So it was good because I'd go home and I'd be on the sound labs, and then I'd go out and I'd be on techniques. Yeah. So I think for me that, I'd say that probably helped me to be as clean and as tight as what I was back then. I don't know if I'm that clean and tight now, but back then, I'd say that was probably key.
Yeah. So X-Rated crew, formed what, 92, 93?
Might have been just slightly before that, but I'd say Reg will know the answer, but I think we won 91.
Would I be right in saying that you guys did an EP for Brain Records?
We did an EP for, so we was in conjunction with, do you remember Boogie Beat?
Yeah.
So we worked with Boogie Beat.
Yeah.
And Boogie Beat had another label which was called High Poison.
Okay.
So we brought out an EP on there, which myself and Red Ant made a track on there.
Yeah, that tune.
Yeah,
that tune.
Me and Ant made a tune on there, and I made my own tune on there, which was, I think it was called Jungle Techno. Then Ricochet made a tune as well called, I think it was called Never Say Never. And then that EP was alright. A lot of people. Do you know what? I've actually had people message me saying it was a sick tune, a sick EP, but we never really saw any money from that track. Do you know what I mean? I think to be fair, I think in that era, I wasn't really bothered about what money was coming in from an EP.
You just got to
I was just glad to kind of have a record label push out something that I've made.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? The money factor was irrelevant.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And to tell you, I don't even know how many copies of that was sold. Do you know what I mean? To be fair, I haven't even got any copies of it. Really? I had loads of like test press of it, but I gave them out. Do you know what I mean? So yeah.
So was there another X-Rated crew then?
No,
because I swear I've got an EP another EP with the X-Rated crew in it.
No, only us. Only us.
I'm gonna have to find that record, you know.
Yeah, only us. But we brought out. Yeah, we brought out. I think we might brought out 1 or 2 EPs. That one I definitely remember because I've seen obviously the kind of label
Yeah.
out there. And I went into the studio with Boogie Beat and I made something, but that one didn't get released. So yeah,
Boogie Beat were big, man, back in the day.
yeah, they
With the
were
Weekend
big.
Rush
They
EPs and
did all the and Kid Andy and
Yep.
Nickel B.
Yep.
It was actually
Dice.
Kid Andy that owned that label.
Ah,
Yeah, it was owned by so yeah, Dicer made
Dice.
stuff over there.
Dyson was a DJ as well on Weekend Rush, wasn't he? Or was he just a
Nah,
producer?
he just owned it. He just owned it. Dicer owned Weekend Rush.
Ah,
Yeah, Dicer owned Weekend Rush.
wow. I
And
didn't
then
know that, you know.
so when it first come out, it was just purely Dicer. And then as time went on, I do know the story. I don't want to talk about it on camera,
Yeah.
but there's a bit of arms that's going on from what I can remember.
Okay.
And then I think through that, Vitamin then come on board, and that's pretty much how it was Dicer and Vitamin. I think, to be fair, I think I came on there and Vitamin was already part of it, so I only know of the procedure, how that number 2 got involved through other people. But initially, Weekend Rush was Dicer, and I think there was other people involved in it as well, but that's before my time. Do you know what I mean?
So were you on Rush when Kool was in one room and Rush was in the other room? Were you in
Nah,
those days?
that was before my time. I don't think that was much before though, to be honest with you. Um, I don't think that was much before. And it's a funny thing because I will tell you this. When myself, Ricochet, and MC Rich decided we was gonna put X-Rated Crew together, I think Ant was on Rush, but I like to try and find my own way in life. I don't always like to try and rely on people. And we were saying, "Oh, we need to get out of there. What do we do? Do we go on a radio station? What do we do?" And I can remember, I don't even know if I should be saying this, but I used to listen to Kool a lot back then. When Rush was on and Kool was on, in the early days, I was listening to both of them. Do you know what I mean? Because I wasn't on Rush at that point. So
Yeah.
nothing such as loyalty, shall we say,
Yeah.
that wasn't in my mind. I was listening to both. Do you know what I mean? And I can remember listening to Kool back then. I think one of the first I remember them having was a guy called MCID.
Yes.
Yeah,
A
yeah.
lot of people talk about ID, man.
Yeah. I don't know him, but I remember. I can
Mhm.
remember so well listening to him, and I wasn't on Rush at this point.
Yeah.
And then we're like, "Oh, so what do we do? How do we get out of there?" And I'm like, "Well, I don't really know how to get on Kool, but should we get a tape out to them?" So it was a toss up for us between who we go for.
Yeah.
But as you know, I was connected to Red Ant.
Yeah.
So getting on Weekend Rush, Rush was big then anyway.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I think people need to not get it twisted. At that point, Rush was top of the game.
Yeah. Rush was.
Rush was top of the game.
Yeah.
I'm never going to say that they were better than them and they were better than them because I'm not into that rubbish. But at that point, Rush had status.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
So getting on there through Ant was, I'm not going to say it was easy because we still had to send in a demo tape, but we had the person to give forward the demo tape.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, like quite quickly a decision was made to come on board. And I think we had a graveyard shift, which was probably 6 to 8. And the first show that we did, I wasn't well. So Ricochet and Reg did it by themselves. And then the second week come, and then I came. And we absolutely smashed it. Like, that was our second show. Tore it apart. Do you know what I mean? Now I'm just, at this point, we're just bedroom DJs.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I think like quickly, it wasn't long before they kind of like instantly within weeks gave us a more of a prime time
Yeah.
show.
Because they knew you guys.
Do you know
were
what I mean?
wicked,
They gave
man.
us a prime time show pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was good times on there, man. Good times on
Any
there.
funny moments you want to share?
Yeah, there was one. I can't remember whose birthday it was. But don't forget, I was young in it, so I think I'm not gonna say I was treated like a boy, but where I was young, I kind of like I was like the little brother. Do you know what I mean? And I can remember, I can't remember it was. I'm not sure if it was Christmas or something, but there was an event, and at that time the studio was in I don't know if you remember, he's called MC Gaffer.
Yeah. R.I.P. to it.
Yeah, he's passed away now, but the
Mhm.
studio was in Gaffer's house. And
Yeah.
they were using the kitchen as the studio. And I can remember the drink that we was all drinking back then was a Baby Sham.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
what was the
yeah.
other one? Was it,
Pink Lady or?
nah, was it 1010 or something like that?
Okay.
Yeah, it was one of them drinks, but I think I was drinking Baby Sham.
Right.
And I've never really been a drinker.
Yeah.
And I remember that day, the studio was jammed. Everybody was there. Funky Flirt was there. X-Rated Crew was all there. Everybody was there.
Yeah.
Everybody, I think even Sparks might have been there.
Sparks, wow.
Yeah, the whole of the Weekend Rush crew was there. Like,
Yeah.
Gaffer's Yard was jammed.
Yeah.
And I got mashed up. And I can remember Funky Flirt going onto the mic and, yeah, and the DJ fly inside, he's absolutely mashed up. Do you know what I mean? And it was just, they were the happier times on Rush. Do you know what I mean? And like, it's kind of like, everyone knew that Fly was young because people used to see me out.
Yeah.
So they knew I wasn't no big man like the rest of them.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And it's just like, yeah, I've got fond memories of that. Do you know what I mean? And when I used to speak with Gaffer, I always just have another thing to say. So Gaffer used to say to Mickey, and another thing, right? And then it just become like like everyone would mimic. Like, yeah, and another thing, like, so that everyone would know that they were taking Mickey out of fly, that he's always got something to say.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was just I was treated like the youngster.
Yeah.
In the Rush family.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
The young head.
I was the young head. But I think without being bigoted or vain, I think because I was youngster, but I was quite talented, I was quite well respected as well at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah, I used to see
Do
a
you know
lot
what I
of flyers, man.
Yeah.
So what was that like playing at these big events at the age you was at, man?
You know, the funny thing is, when we was playing at a lot of these events, I don't know if you remember them times there, right? Because mobile phones, no one had mobile phones then, right? And I can remember, and I've had this discussion with people, other people, and have said the same thing. I'd go into like Music Power or Boogie Times, and I'd pick up a flyer, and I'm seeing X-Rated Crew in it. But the promoter hasn't even contacted me or said it. And that was quite well known them times. Your name would be on the flyer.
Yeah.
And you had to call the promoter and say, have you put me down to play at your rave? And be like, yeah. Because there wasn't communication. It wasn't like trying to get older people prior.
Yeah.
So it was really weird. That happened quite a few times. But we played that more like, we was around in Kent more. And them kind of areas. London was quite a close. Even now, it's tight, but it was tight then as well.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? There
Yeah.
was certain other like promoters that we was in there with.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people like London was on a lockdown. But yeah, it was nice to play at some of them events. Don't get me wrong.
Did you do Splash as well, Jungle Splash?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
I did. Yeah, I did. And then obviously I think we was in the Arena 2 though at Splash. We was in Arena 2. I think that was Rocket Holloway Road.
Yeah, Rocket. Yeah,
it was.
Yeah.
So yeah, we did that. We was in there. Good times, man.
Yeah, I can imagine, man.
But like I say, them times, don't forget, it was very daunting to me because I was still very young.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? And you got a lot. It's like, the only way I can describe, imagine a kid who's with his parents, he's walking down the high road, and his hand disconnects from his mother's, and he's lost. The mum's he can't find his mum. That's how I felt a little bit like that. That's the only way I can describe it. When you're so young, do you know what I mean? Because like Ricochet's a couple years older than me. Reg is a lot more older than me. Not a lot, but do you know what I mean? So I was young. So for me, it was quite daunting being out in them big raves and big clubs. I remember Ashwin Street. Do you know what I mean? Rocket Club, Telepathy, all of them places. Being in them places and being so young. And I was tiny. I'm not even big now, but then I was tiny. So it was very daunting being out like that. Do you know what I mean? The more and more I was out, and the more time I was with my crew, like X-Rated Crew and the Rush, then I was a bit more relaxed.
Yeah.
But initially, it was it was daunting times. But again, I had to front that because I like the DJ and I like the music.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, that lifestyle was part and parcel of that. Do you know what I mean?
So records and stuff. I know, obviously, as a bigger DJ, you got records given to you, but also when you first started out, how did you buy records? Was it with your dinner money and stuff like that, or pocket money?
Well, it's a funny one. So because my dad was heavily into his music, and obviously I had quite a nice setup in my room. Didn't quite have the techniques, but I had a sound system in my bedroom that most people didn't have. You know, scoops. I had scoop boxes, bass boxes,
Okay.
mid-range tweeters, all in my room. So I had a wicked sound system in my bedroom back them times. And when I started to kind of get involved in it, I wasn't working. Most people wasn't working in times. So my dad used to kind of give me my pocket money, and through my dad giving me the pocket money, straight into Music Power or Boogie Times in Romford. Do you know what I mean? Or Lucky Spin, Underground, Forest Gate.
Yeah.
I know I'd be in any record shop.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Just trying to buy my music. It was them times there. Before I was getting stuff sent to me, you were just having to be at the front of the queue and hoping that you could get that test press before the person behind you.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's what it was like them times. And back then, I kind of all of the guys in Underground Record Shop, they knew me anyway. They knew all of X-Ray Crew. Do you know what I mean? You had Uncle 22, you had Hornet, all of them, man, Kool and Flex, all of them was working behind there, so they knew us. So there was also the guy Ian from Reinforced.
Okay.
Ian from Reinforced used to come up in his white van, and we always kind of knew what days he was coming. So then them times there, I wasn't really getting stuff sent to me, but I always knew the days to be in the record shops at the right time.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And Winston from Boogie Times. Do you know what I mean? I always knew he knew what days I was gonna really come, and he'd try and put stuff underneath.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I used to love them days, you know.
Them days where people would save it.
Yeah, underneath the counter. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'll save you for you.
And them times I was hearing stuff on the radio, and then I'd pick up the phone to like Lloyd Anthony and Music Power or whoever, and I'd hum the tune. Oh yeah, we know what you're talking about. We ain't got many left, but I'll put one under for you. Do you know what I mean?
Days though.
Them days, that's
like,
what
I'm telling you.
Do you know what I mean? And like, I think what were records then? Like £3.99 or £4.99 for a 12-inch.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes I might not have anything. I might have nothing, and I'd have to do a few shows playing the same set.
Yeah.
And then my dad would go, "All right, here you go." Do you know what I mean? So I'd have to literally get 30 quid off of my dad or whatever, to then restack up again, reload.
Yeah.
With some fresh tunes.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So
I remember them days.
unless you was out there and you was making money from playing that, it was tough. Do you know what I mean? We was all in the same boat.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It was hard times, man.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's not like now where you can just go and buy a track for 99p or download it or whatever, and you get your music free.
Yeah.
Them times there, you won't get nothing free.
No.
And until I got out there, them record labels were sending stuff to me.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, do you remember? I think it was the record label that released Just For You London.
Oh.
Is it Big City or City Records?
Big City. Right. Yeah, you're right. Big City.
They were sending me stuff all the time. Do you know what I mean? All of them guys in like Underground, they were giving me stuff. Do you know what I mean? I was getting stuff.
Tunes come out or not Underground.
Yeah, because back then time the records, it was like in a little brown envelope. It's like a big envelope, 12-inch size.
Yeah.
But like hardback.
Yeah.
Brown envelope. I was getting loads of them sent to me.
Wicked.
Do you know what I mean? Whereas I'm lucky if I get anything sent to me. Them times, I was getting stuff. So then it got a bit easier. I mean, there's a few labels that used to go on a bit funny, but I was getting a lot of music sent to me at that point.
Best nightclub you played in? With the best sound system wise, what was the best? Like, you was like, wow, man, that sound system's disgusting.
I'd probably have to say Morning After wasn't bad, but if I'd have to say, I'd probably say Roller Express.
Okay.
Yeah, Roller Express. That sound was alright. I like that sound system. Yeah, I'd say. I definitely would say. To tell the truth, Dungeons had a wicked system as well, and I played on that system. I would say Dungeons and Roller Express.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if you remember, there was a DJ back in the day. His name was called DJ Twilight, and his dad was quite heavily involved. I think it was Jungle Mania. So when Jungle Mania just come out on the scene, I was in there with him. And through his dad passed away now. But I did a set there. But yeah, I'd say Roller Express, definitely.
Yeah. Okay. So is it X-Rated Crew still formed?
Yeah.
And you're all on Delta Radio now?
Currently, yeah.
So what's the future for
Well, Reg
X-rated
Reg
crew.
just decided he's taking he's left basically.
Okay.
Which I get, I totally get. You know what? When you come back and then you're out like that and you have to come out into the coldness and leave your family and stuff. Um, I think unless you've got 100% drive behind you, it's hard. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes, listen, when I come home from work and I've got to try and get my music ready and then try and come out, do you know what I mean? It's like you have to get that kick up the backside to get you motivated.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So don't forget, we've been out of the scene for 30 years. Prior to that, we had the hunger. We wanted it bad. We wanted to be big like everybody else. So you were motivated. But when you leave something for 30 years and then come back, the same motivation isn't there.
What do you think of the scene now then? What would you say? Do you rate the scene? Is it healthy?
Is it healthy? It's okay. It's okay.
A lot of the tunes are too repetitive for me.
Yeah, it's
Everyone's
okay.
trying to do the same thing. Like everyone's using that noise.
Yeah, to be fair, I don't like that.
It's too much.
I don't like that.
It is too much. It's too much.
If you listen to my style, and perhaps my style is never really gonna push me out there because typically now it's that sound that people want to hear. And I don't like that sound. There might be the odd one or two track that I hear and I think, yeah, I can work with that.
Yeah.
But you could play me 10 tracks like that, I might like maybe one or two.
Yeah.
So the scene for me, I think it's very clicky. Very clicky. Well, let me explain. In my opinion, and I could be wrong, yeah? I'm not saying I'm right. But in my opinion, back in the day, in the 90s, even though the scene was clicky, you could become known. You could work your way in. With enough time, enough mingling,
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And you had the talent, you could work. Whereas now, I don't believe the scene is like that now. I don't believe talent alone can get you through those doors and in there with different events. It's very clicky. Do you know what I mean? And
it's how many tickets you can sell.
Hmm?
And it's how many tickets you can sell.
Yeah, it's
you know
how many
it's
tickets
like,
you can
you
sell.
Us 30 tickets, we'll
Yeah,
put
it's
you on the
how many
flyer.
tickets you could sell. Which I get that. Listen, it's a business now, isn't it? I think now it's a business. When we was doing it, it's a rave, it's a party. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not about how many people like DJ Redlock or DJ Fly can get in. It's just a party. Do you want to play? Yeah, okay, play.
Yeah.
Now it is very much like that. Do you know what I mean? So and so's playing. Yeah, okay, I know if he's there, 500 people, 400 people, 100 people are gonna come just because they want to hear him.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Was back in the day, I don't think that was much of an issue for promoters. Do you know what I mean? If you look at some of them big raves that was back them times there, yeah, okay, I'll give you an opportunity, come and play.
Yeah.
Because guess what? You're a minor, you ain't really got any clout in your name, but I got 10 other people that got the clout in their name. So don't worry, you come on board. Do you know what I mean? Whereas now it ain't.
Which made it must have been even harder then, man.
What, now or then?
Then. Because you had you always had your main heads, but this is the thing though. This is what I was thinking, like we've read and earlier. It's like you guys were still the main guys, but you were all going up together. So obviously you got your, all right. Don't get me wrong, Mickey Finn and Groove have been DJing since '87 or whatever, way before that. You know, they've been DJing for years. But you all started the jungle together.
Yeah.
You all grew.
To be fair though, I think the one thing I would like to make clear though is I don't think neither myself or X-Ray Crew really reached the heights that we should have done. We definitely should have achieved more. We definitely should have gone a lot further than what we did. But life changes, and I think people have asked me that question quite recently. How comes you guys didn't get as big as what you should have done? So there's a lot of different factors and reasons behind that. Do you know what I mean? And I think I'm happy because, as I say, my life is totally different to what it was at that point. I mean, there's lots of people that know they should have made it bigger, and they probably still to this day kick themselves. I don't kick myself. But I know the reasons why we didn't go as high as what we should have done. I mean, because even now, like, a lot of people, I'm surprised how many people know of me. I don't really see myself as anything.
This is the thing. I think you underestimate how big you are, man. Like, seriously.
Nah,
Like,
I don't believe I don't believe I ever was, and I don't believe I am now. Do you know what I
okay,
mean? I think I'm known. I think I'm known.
Mm.
I think there are people that know DJ Fly and people that know of DJ Fly. But when I believe I should have been at a certain level and I never got there, it's very difficult for me to then really see myself as a big DJ. I wasn't, and neither was X-Ray Crew as big as what we should have been. And there's many different factors why I feel that way.
The garage scene came after Jungle.
Yeah,
There's a lot of big garage DJs, obviously, as you know.
yeah,
You've got your Pied Pipers and everyone.
yeah,
What you guys got to remember is everyone came after you guys. You guys had made the jungle scene
yeah,
what it is, and everyone wanted to be in the jungle scene.
mm.
But when garage started growing,
Mm.
it gave these DJs and MCs the opportunity to make it to where you guys were.
Mm.
They wanted to be like you, so you had a lot of garage DJs that were up and coming, that are big now, that wanted to be like you guys. This is why you get people coming to you, you're fly, man. Oh my gosh, because we all were listening to the radio to you guys.
Yeah.
See, so it was like you're the blueprint. We can rush DJs and Kool FM DJs.
Yeah.
I say Eruption as well. Eruption came a bit later, but you know, I still give them their props and pulse.
I
But
would
you
say
guys,
we can rush, yeah,
and
but
when it,
I would say more Cool.
yeah,
I've got to give. Listen, I can't. We got on Cool quite late on, so I can't really say I'm a Cool man because I'm not. Let's be real. I've thoroughly enjoyed being on Cool. But to be part of a Cool family, you got to remember how long Cool was running for to consider yourself as part of a family. X-Rated Crew wasn't on there long enough to be classed as part of the Cool family. But yes, I would say Rush definitely are part of the blueprint. But I think you've got to give that credit to Cool, if I'm really honest, for the jungle scene anyway. Not the hardcore scene, because hardcore was before that.
yeah,
So
Defection.
if you're gonna go hardcore, you gotta go Defection, you gotta go Pulse FM.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Then you can go Weekend Rush. Do you know what I mean? But definitely for the jungle blueprint. X-Rated Crew, we was involved in the jungle scene. Yes. Well, I don't want no credit for that because I think there's so many more people that have done so much more for jungle than what I've ever done or X-Rated Crew ever done. You know, you got to think of the radio stations. Kool Fm, 31 years, keeping it going. Meanwhile, jungle raves weren't even happening because these owners of these venues wouldn't let people book it for a jungle rave, and none of them people gave up. I wasn't even seeing them. I can't really take any credit when I'm just talking that the facts, the pure facts. When I was in it, yeah, I contributed, but you know, if you look at it like a lorry climbing a hill, and that man drops the rope, and then there's still several other people tugging at the rope to pull the lorry up there. They're the ones that get the credit, not the one that let go of the rope. I let go of the rope, if you like. Do you know what I mean? So that's how I see it, anyway. I think there was one. I think the one time when I realised I might have been well known and a big DJ, not a big DJ because I wasn't a big DJ, but well known, was I used to do an apprenticeship in carpentry, and the company I worked for had the contract for. I think they might have had a contract for the borough of Battersea. Can't remember if it might be Lambeth, I don't know, but we had a contract there, and we did all of the work in Pimlico, them areas there. And one flat, we had to fit some new windows and a door in this flat. Now I'm an apprenticeship carpenter, right? Now I'm not. There's no sign of me that I'm a DJ. So we're in there. You know, the man's like, "Go and get me my tools. go and get this. Treat me like a skiv, because that's when you're apprentice. That's how you're treated.
Yep.
And all this time, I'm listening to this voice, like, but the guy who's flat me in, staring at me, like constantly staring at me. And you know when you can feel from the corner of your eye someone's staring.
Yeah.
And then I turned and followed, and I went, "Are you okay? You're right, yeah." And he went, "Yeah, yeah." And he went, "Are you DJ Fly?" And I went, "Yeah." Now the guy I was working with, he knew I was a DJ outside of that. I went, "Yeah." He goes, "Yeah, I thought you are." And to be in Pimlico, that's not my manner.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I'm not from them side at all.
Yeah.
That's when I realised, okay, people do know you. That's when I realised that. Don't forget, when you're on radio, them times there, it's not like now where you've got like the cams and you can see the DJ and no one couldn't see what you look like. Do you know what I mean?
But you did that documentary.
Yes.
The one with, what was it called?
London something.
London something.
Yeah.
And that's where, this is what I love about that documentary.
But from when he said, for me it wasn't. From when he said that, my first thing is he's going on about the documentary.
Yeah.
My man starts showing me tapes.
Wow.
Recorded tapes he's got of my shows.
Yeah.
And that's when I realised, okay. Now bearing in mind, them times there, I think I was living in, I think I was still in Ilford them times. So I'm miles from where I live, and I'm in Pimlico now. Do you know what I mean? So that's when I realised, like you say, not to underestimate yourself. That's when I realised that yes, you are known.
Mm-hmm.
But I was never a Red Ant. I was never a Brocky, I was never that. But yes, I was known. But
you was on the same line as them. You were still big.
Yeah.
This is the thing, Fly. You still
maybe you see it that way, but I don't really see it that. I don't really see it like that.
I'm a fan, isn't it? So we know. Listen.
Yeah.
We all, as youths, used to go around each other's house as a mix, like you and your lot used to do, and we would sit down and compare tapes and stuff as well. And you know, your name and Red Ant's name and Brocky's name and Young Ed's name would come up. It's like, no, I've got this tape of Fly. You know what I mean? It was you all graduated together. You all made a scene. So the next generation of DJs, the next generation, look